One Piece is back with another chapter and the Egghead Island arc pushes on. That's right, we have no break next week and Oda is back on track and it looks like we're going to be enjoying back-to-back chapters. This isn't an ordinary chapter. It looks like Oda finally decided to let Bonney shine. With all that she's faced on Egghead Island, she's finally going to get the chance to bring the beat down to the Gorosei. No more running away. And while this chapter might be a short 13 pages, it sets up the finale of the Egghead Island arc perfectly. Last time we left off, Vegapunk was finally getting to the juicy ending of the broadcast and we were finally going to learn the truth behind the Will of D and all the people who possessed it. But of course, Oda wouldn't let us get all this information just like that. Finally, Vegapunk's broadcast was stopped, but the Gorosei weren't chilling out. They want to get rid of the Straw Hats and the rest of the people on the island and leave no witnesses. Am I right? So, with the tensions finally at their peak and the broadcast finally over, are the Gorosei going to focus on the Straw Hats now? What is their next move? Let's dive right in and find out. The cover story continues, and this time the cover features Yamato enjoying a lovely meal as she sets off from the flower capital with her loved ones bidding her farewell. And I appreciate this art so much because if you look at the background, Oda is still drawing Wano with precision and care. It's his baby. Wano is his baby, so every time he draws Wano, he makes sure it's beautiful. This cover story also hints at a significant upcoming event in Wano. To me, it is the involvement of the Blackbeard pirates. If the Blackbeard pirates arrive on Wano, it adds another layer of complexity to the entire narrative. And I believe that Big Mom and Kaido might be making their return very soon. And this cover story might also be leading up to that, which might also go into them fighting Pluton. It could be a battle between Blackbeard and Big Mom and Kaido. Who knows? But anyway, let's begin with the chapter, okay? The chapter begins right where we left off in the last one. The Gorosei have finally succeeded in stopping Vegapunk's broadcast. And what a madman he is. He actually is hiding the Denden Mushi inside of the Iron Giants. No one expected the mad scientist to be that crazy, but if you think about it for a second, it makes sense. The Iron Giant is almost indestructible, so what better place to put it than inside of a giant robot that cannot be destroyed? And it even took York so long to figure that out. And she's one of the Vegapunks. This just goes to show you that he truly was the smartest man in the world. But the Gorosei finally figured it out, and now the broadcast has been cut off. The chapter begins with the Iron Giants falling into the ocean, causing massive waves and panic amongst the Marines. The giant robot's fall disrupts the battleships in the sea, leading to a chaos situation, and the Marines are shown in total disarray, yelling about the metal creature and jumping overboard to avoid being crushed. The visual chaos that Oda portrays emphasizes the unprecedented nature of this threat, while also highlighting the Marines' lack of preparedness for such an encounter. They came to Egghead Island following orders, and now they are shook beyond measure, feasting their eyes on the events happening on Egghead Island. Amidst the chaos, Vegapunk's Denden Mushi continues to malfunction, cutting off crucial information about the mysterious clan. This interruption also adds another layer of suspense, leaving us readers speculating about what is going on and what we missed about the hidden secrets of the world government. Now, while the Iron Giant is sinking, it speaks to itself, expressing confusion about Joy Boy's absence. We can literally see the Iron Robot shouting for Joy Boy, asking where he went, and it's like, did Luffy stop using Gear 5 again? Because that is the only reason why the Iron Giant was shut down, since it's powered by Luffy's heartbeat after all. But before we can hear anything else, the Iron Robot shuts down. This self-dialogue reveals the robot's sentience and its awareness of Joy Boy's presence. The robot's sentience and quest to find Joy Boy suggests a deeper historical connection, possibly, not even possibly, tied to the Void Century and the ancient battle between Joy Boy and the world government. The Iron Giant's ability to function and express thoughts raises questions about its power source. It could be linked to the Eternal Flame or Mother Flame and the ancient technologies or whatever it's working on that has kept it alive or operational for centuries. Valkyrie, who was the one who attacked the Iron Giant, personally verifies the robot's sinking and indicates to Gorosei its keen interest in the robot. He's trying to make sure that the message does not saga continue. The Marines on the shore mistake the island's bizarre occurrences for natural phenomena that occurs on Egghead Island, while because they are unaware of the Gorosei's involvement, and this misunderstanding highlights the secrecy and misinformation within the world government. It looks like even people around the world realized that someone stopped the broadcast. We see people from around the world reacting to the broadcast being stopped, and people are talking about how Vegapunk doesn't deserve to die, even if he committed all the sins he mentioned. And this just goes to show you the humanity of the people. These are the people Vegapunk was making the world a better place for. No one believes that the world government will try to kill Vegapunk. Well, just wait and see. And it looks like people still think that the world government is good. Like, open your eyes already. They are the ones sinking the world. And fortunately, some people have the common sense to think that the world government could have ulterior motives. They might be the ones who killed Vegapunk. Unfortunately, some people still think that Luffy was the one who kidnapped Vegapunk, and that the ones responsible for Vegapunk's broadcast being stopped abruptly are the pirates. Well, I guess stupid people exists even in the fictional world, huh? This is so sad. Citizens in Arabasta and Dressrosa react to the news of Vegapunk's potential assassination, and despite Vegapunk's claims of committing grave sins, people find it hard to believe that the world government will kill their greatest scientist. This disbelief showcases the effective brainwashing and propaganda spread by the world government. Leo surprisingly doubts Luffy, thinking he might have eliminated Vegapunk, while Rebecca, along with other women who met Luffy, trust him unconditionally. This contrast highlights Luffy's ability to inspire loyalty and faith amongst his allies, particularly the women. I gotta say, Luffy has got game. You might not think so. You might just think he's being goofy, but Luffy has got game. He's got aura. He's been spitting game to women since One Piece started. And now we're back on Egghead Island where the Iron Giants defeated and Vegapunk's broadcast finally stopped. It looks like the Gorosei aren't planning on resting anytime soon. They're immediately planning on their next move, and York tells them about the remaining Vegapunks just in time. And now the Gorosei have their new targets. They want to make sure that Vegapunk's inventions aren't used against them ever. And how could they even do that? Well, of course, by eliminating every Vegapunk on the island except for York. They still need someone to operate the lab after all this is done, don't they? And so it looks like the Gorosei have decided to hunt down the rest of the Vegapunks on the island. Weren't they hunting the Straw Hats and Bonney just a few minutes ago? What happened to all of that? Why is destroying the rest of the Vegapunks more important than the Straw Hats and Bonney escaping Egghead Island? Is Vegapunk's lab really that valuable? Is it really that valuable that they are just going to let Luffy and his crew escape Egghead Island without a fight? Whatever their move or whatever their motive is for making that decision, someone needs to warn Atlas and Lilith fast, because all the Gorosei are on their way to get rid of them. York informs the Gorosei that only two Vegapunks, Lilith and Atlas, are left alive. She mentions that Punk Records can continue to function and grow even after Stella's termination, indicating the potential for technological advancements, but not against them. And they decided to get rid of the remaining Vegapunks, seeing them as loose ends. To me, their strategic approach to consolidating power and removing potential threats is flawed, because your main threats, which is Luffy and his crew to finding the One Piece, are your bigger threats. So why would you try to kill the Vegapunks? Do you actually believe that you'll be able to defeat Luffy when Luffy actually masters Gear 5 or the powers of Sun God Nika? On the other end of the island, Luffy and the Giants have finally reached the giant ship with Bonney and her group, and things are starting to look up for the Straw Hats, and it looks like the crew is finally going to get the chance to escape. The Marines think that they can stop the Giants and the Straw Hats from escaping, but it looks like they're overestimating how powerful the Giants actually are. There's no way a couple of Marine ships are going to be enough to stop the Straw Hats and the Giants together. The Giants are just unstoppable, coupled with the Straw Hats, who are also straight up monsters when fighting. There's no way a couple of Marines are going to hold them back. And it looks like Oda has finally decided to let Bonney into the spotlight, because she finally joins the fight and gets into it with the Vice Admirals, and it looks like they're no match for her. Vice Admiral Bluegrass and Doll both get turned into little girls by Bonney, and the giant ship finally starts to set sail towards the sea without any problems. This just goes to show you the power that Bonney possesses. I mean, dealing with multiple vice admirals this easily, she's a natural at this. Bonney is going to be a wonderful addition to the crew if she keeps this up. It's no joke, right? She really is holding her own against 2 vice admirals, and it looks like even the vice admirals are having a tough time dealing with Bonney and the powers of the Toshi Toshi no Mi. We're finally getting to see the real powers of Bonnie's devil. Just how will the Marines even deal with her power? With half of the crew finally reunited, Sanji tells Nami that they've set sail, and Nami and the other half of the crew are about to set off. One half of the crew are with the giants, and the others are escaping on the Thousand Sunny by the clouds. But didn't Jinbei and Zoro jump off to fight Natsujiro? Nami didn't mention them at all. Did it make it back to the ship, having successfully stalled Natsujiro, or are Zoro and Jinbei going to be left behind? Because last I checked, Zoro and Natsujiro have just started fighting, so either they've made it back or something is about to go very, very wrong. We'll just have to wait and see, and it looks like it's all smooth sailing for now. Luffy disappears briefly to fill up on food, and I love how he's actually being proactive, ensuring that he has the energy to fight the fight that is impending, right? Yet, the Gorosei have made it back to the main island, and Marcus Mars suddenly shows up and shoots a giant beam of energy from his mouth. I thought the Gorosei were on the way to kill Atlas and Lilith. Why is Mars here? Anyway, the giant ship catches fire, and it looks like the fight is on. Just when will the Straw Hats be able to escape without the Gorosei stepping in to stop them? But all is not lost. Luffy jumps off the ship, activating Gear 5 once again, and before the fight could begin, I want to talk about the giants for a second. The giants on board protect the ship with their shields, and it showcases how huge they are with the size of the beam hitting their shields. Dory and Brogy are dancing to the heartbeat of liberation, symbolizing the joy and unity that they feel in this moment. Instead of them focusing on the threat in front of them, they are forced to be dancing to Luffy's heartbeat. But anyway, just before the fight could begin, Luffy stops to talk to Bonney, and this is where it kicks off. Luffy asks Bonney to join the fight with him, but just how is Bonney going to fight one of the Gorosei? Even if it is with Luffy, how is she going to keep up? But then it happens. Bonney has a flashback and images of a future, right? A future where she is most free. But what is that going to do? And I know you guys remember the episode of Luffy doing his goofy moves, explaining to Bonney that his appearance in the wanted poster was him being the most free. This scene actually was playing in my mind as soon as I saw this flashback, and we finally get to see the real power of Bonney's devil fruit. The chapter ends with Bonney transforming into a form similar to Luffy's. That's right, she looks just like Luffy in his Gear 5 form, and everyone on the ship and around it is surprised. After all, I think anyone would be surprised if 2 Nikas showed up all of a sudden. Just what is happening? Even Valkyrie and Jupiter sense this happening and start to make their way towards the giant ship. Like, boy, are they in for a surprise when they get here. And in the final moments, the ancient robot turns on under the sea, with Luffy back in his Gear 5 form and Bonney in Gear 5 as well. The ancient robot is back in action, and it looks like it might have recognized Luffy's heartbeat and might be heading to where our beloved captain is. What a chapter this is. And the chapter finally closes with Luffy and Bonney both looking just like Nika, and now the showdown is finally going to begin. And the chapter finally ends. It might have been a short one, but boy is Oda setting us up for a finale we've always wanted. With Bonney and Luffy both showing up looking like Nika, the scales are finally in the Straw Hats' favor. And boy does it look like they are ready to mess everyone up. Plus, with Bonney having the power and abilities of Nika, she will finally get a chance to go toe-to-toe with the terrifying Gorosei. And that's not all. Now that we know that Bonney also has the power of Nika on her side, it's going to be crazy the number of things that Luffy and her can do when fighting the Gorosei. We already saw how much of a menace Luffy was when he fought in his Gear 5 form, and now Bonney is also going to join in on the action too, and we will all know what she's seen Luffy do in action, right? So we should get ready to witness the fight of the year with Luffy and Bonney teaming up to bring the beat down on the Gorosei. While that is the biggest thing that happened in the whole chapter, there's also a bunch of other things we need to look at. For one, now that both Luffy and Bonney are just like Nika, will the Iron Giant be extra powered now? Will we know how it uses Luffy's heartbeat as energy to work? However that works is still a mystery to us. I mean, just how does his heartbeat power a giant robot again? But now that it has two Nikas roaming in the world, and that's not all, just what did the Gorosei sense when Bonney transformed into Nika? It looks so bad that Saturn didn't think that she could use the power of Nika. I bet that he's going to be really pissed when he finds out that even Bonney can take the form of one of the greatest enemies of the world government. I cannot wait to see Saint Saturn's face when he realizes that Bonney has turned into Sun God Nika, with him saying that he gave Bonney a faulty devil fruit and that he was the one who caused Bonnie's mother to die, and he was the one who killed Kuma in the first place. Speaking of Kuma, I feel like Kuma is sentient and Kuma is not dead, because how is Bonney going to get flashbacks of what Kuma said when Jenny arrived with Bonney in her arms to the chapel? So it definitely has to be Kuma sitting there watching Bonney turn into Nika and being proud of his daughter. And I hope that maybe Oda will answer my prayers and actually revive Kuma. I know some people might not like it, but hey, I will really appreciate it. And now that the Iron Giant is up and running again, how are the Gorosei going to deal with it again? If the giant robot really is powered by Luffy in his Gear 5 form, then the Gorosei have another surprise coming for them, because the giant robots they thought was gone is going to walk its way back into the fight. But how will the Gorosei deal with two Nikas and a giant robot that can't die at the same time, as well as the Straw Hats? Bonnie's new form is a sign that things are finally going to change, and she's come a long way from being a little girl who needed Kuma to take care of her. And let's just say that Kuma will be proud of Bonney for what she's become. I mean, she's straight up transformed into Nika, the hero that Kuma told her stories about as a child. And as we know, there's no break next week, and it looks like we'll be getting to see Bonney in action pretty soon. And I'm sure that we're all excited to see just how the Egghead arc is going to end. So let's just wait and see just what else Oda has up his sleeve. Until next time, it is your boy setting sail and signing out. Peace.